Hi guys, I've decided to throw together a lovely video to help you open up your body and feel better in your body. And it happens to be International Pilates Day, so I figured that's kind of the perfect time to get you moving and feeling better. So I love the foam roller. I find the foam roller is such a good way to open your chest and open up your body and really help you loosen everything up. But I realize not everybody has a foam roller, especially the big long ones that I prefer. So I've decided to kind of let the everyday household items like the can and the toss pillow be your props for this little workout. I'm gonna shoot for, 20, 30 minutes. We'll see how it goes. So I'm gonna have you start just by standing facing me. Obviously you're facing me, that was funny. And your feet are a little wider than the width of your shoulders and your palms are away from each other. We're just gonna do some breathing with your arms. So inhale, lifting the arms, opening the chest. You can even kind of look up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, turn your palms away from each other as you float the arms down and just really opening up the chest. And we'll do one more. Inhale, opening up. And exhale, pressing the arms down and let your arms go back behind your body a little bit. And then we're gonna lift those arms back up the same way, just opening and lifting. And then grab your right arm or right wrist with your left hand, pull the arm up towards the ceiling, and then just tip yourself right on over for a nice little stretch. Breathing into that right rib cage. And then we'll bring it back up to center, grab the left wrist, pull it up towards the ceiling, tip it on over, and breathe into the left rib cage here. And then bringing it back up. And then you can float the arms right on back down. Now I'm going to have you bring your hands behind your head, interlace your fingers behind your head, and then just press your head back so it kind of draws you actually have to kind of draw your shoulder blades down your back a bit. Let your elbows go a little wider and just let yourself kind of tip back a little bit and enjoy that nice chest opener. And now start to rotate to your right and almost like you're looking up and to the right and really open out that right elbow to feel that right pec stretch. And then we'll bring it back to center. We're keeping the tension or pressure of the head into the arms to keep that chest open. Let's rotate over to the left, pushing your head back into the arms and drawing that left elbow back and looking up into the left and feeling that nice stretch. And then bringing it back to center, and then you can float the arms right on back down. So your chest should feel nice and open. So from here, we're gonna go into my all-time favorite exercise ever. I call it the holy grail of exercises. Every day should involve TikToks, and it's not the app, it's an exercise. So with your feet about the distance, about a little wider than your shoulders, press your pubic bone forward and turn on your glutes. Make sure your toes are facing forward, and then we're gonna start just tipping right on over. So I'm keeping everything nice and solid. So if you imagine that from your shoulders to your knees is one block of wood, and we're just kind of flicking off the toes to create the movement. And what this does, besides it looks super cool, is it actually works your glute med. So the gluteus medius muscle that's super important to keep your thigh bone, your femur tracking in its socket correctly and kind of holds it in. We're working that muscle, so that helps prevent low back pain, knee issues, things like that, as well as preventing hip pain or help reduce hip pain. We're also challenging your deep six, and those are those 6 teeny tiny muscles that kind of tether the thigh bone into the socket and keep it tracking correctly as well. So all very, very important. So I recommend doing TikToks shoot for 2 minutes. You may have to work your way up because sometimes they start burning pretty quick. And if you feel the burn real quickly, then you know you need them more in your life. So I recommend doing these while you brush your teeth. If you have the 2-minute timer on your toothbrush, that kind of lets you know where you're at, because that 1 minute will feel like 2 minutes otherwise. And then that way, if you brush your teeth twice a day, you're technically TikToking twice a day, which is even better. So I'm not going to have you TikTok the full 2 minutes because I want to move on to some other things. But you should already start to feel a little warmth in the sides of your glutes. And if it feels like a little bit of an ache in your bones, that's those deep six. That's those little tiny muscles that are just saying, hi, we're working, and getting nice and warm. So we want to get the hips warmed up and the glutes warmed up and everything all warmed up before we do some of these hip opening and hip movement and mobility exercises that are coming up. So we'll go ahead and come out of our TikToks, and you can kind of shift your hips a little bit just to kind of loosen them up a little bit because it can get a little tight feeling. And then we're going to do some roll down. So hands by your side. Inhale, stand nice and tall. And then exhale, drop your chin to your chest and start to roll through the spine. So if you were against an imaginary wall, we're kind of peeling the spine off that imaginary wall as you roll yourself forward. You want your belly button to draw to your spine and your abs to support the weight of the upper body. So you don't want to just flop yourself forward. You want to keep those abs on and working. When you come down to about as far as you can go comfortably, soften your knees and shift your weight over your toes. So just feel that nice stretch through the back body. And then just bend your right knee and let your right hip drop a little and shift to the side. And then straighten-ish the right knee, bend the left knee, let that left hip drop and shift a little. And then we'll straighten-ish the legs. I say ish because I want you to keep a soft bend in your knees. Take an inhale, and then exhale, we're going to start to roll back up. Belly button draws to the spine. Abs support the weight of the body. As you roll yourself back up, tailbone drives towards your heels, and then shoulder blades melt down your back and we come all the way to standing. So we're gonna do that one more time with an added twist. So inhale, standing tall. Exhale, drop your chin to your chest and we'll start to roll through the spine. And your abs are supporting the weight of the upper body as you roll yourself down. Good. From here, grab your right ankle or whatever part of your right leg you can reach. Bend your right knee, keep the left one straight-ish. And then we're going to take that left arm up towards the ceiling. So you're rotating through your rib cage. And I take my right elbow and press it into my right knee to help give me more twist through the ribs and feel that nice stretch. You can kind of look up towards the ceiling as well if your body will allow. And then we'll rotate back down. Grab the left ankle or part of your leg, bend the left knee, keep the right leg straight-ish. And now we're going to rotate through the rib cage to bring the right arm towards the ceiling. I'm pressing into my left knee with my left elbow to help me get a little extra twist. Breathing into the stretch. And then let's bring the arm on down. Let everything hang really heavy. Let your head dangle, let your arms dangle, and just soften and breathe into the backs of your ribs. And then on your next exhale, draw your belly button to your spine. We're going to start that roll up. Think of your tailbone going down as your belly button going up. And then the shoulders will just melt down your back to come all the way back to standing. Okay. All right, so from here we're going to come to the ground and do a little bit of ground exercises. So I would love to challenge everybody to come to the ground with no hands if that's available to you. It's kind of a fun challenge and it's fun to watch different people's methods and how they get to the ground and all the fun problem solving that's involved if you're not used to doing that. So we're going to take the cans, but they're optional. What I'm doing with the cans is I'm going to have you, if you want to try this, placing them under your feet for bridging. So it would be similar to bridging with your feet on the foam roller, except you have the can. So it definitely adds an added element of challenge to your bridging. If you're not familiar with bridging, if you don't normally bridge, I would say nix the cans and just do this without. So we're going to come to our back, and you want to lie down and place the cans kind of where your feet will go. And I'm going to say about hip distance apart or so. And then bring your feet to the cans. And then lie yourself down and get nice and comfy. So once you're lying down, you can bring your hands down alongside your back. And you can kind of walk your shoulder blades down your back a little bit. We'll take an inhale, and then exhale, start to tuck your tail, like if a dog tucked their tail between their legs. And then start to use your glutes and your hamstrings, so back of the body to lift your bottom up towards the ceiling. We'll inhale here, and then exhale, start to roll yourself back down. So you're pulling your bottom towards your heels. You're getting length through your spine as you roll yourself all the way down. So the challenge of the cans just gives it a little less stability, so it's a little more hamstring engagement. We'll inhale for the next one, and then exhale, engage your lower abdominals to peel that tailbone up, and we'll roll through the spine to come all the way up to that nice bridge. So I've got my bottom up as high as my hips will allow, but my ribs are not flaring out. I'm not dumping up towards the ceiling. We'll take an inhale, and then exhale, start to roll yourself down. So you're dropping the back of your ribs. You're trying to keep your tail tucked if you can. And then we're moving to the mid back and down to the low back. And then finally your tailbone comes all the way down. Now on this next one, we have the option to make it a little more challenging if you have the cans under your feet. So we'll take an inhale, and then exhale, tuck your tail around your spine, roll up to the ceiling. And then we're just gonna hold here, and you can bring your arms in closer to your body to help create a better shoulder bridge so you feel more supported for here. Now, if you have the cans under your legs, you're going to inhale, push them away from you about an inch or two, and then exhale, pull them back in towards you an inch or two. So we'll inhale, press it out a little, and exhale, pull it back a little. If you don't have the cans, we're just holding. This should feel like work. And pulling back, and just a couple more. And exhale, pull the cans back. And last one, inhale out. Exhale, pull it back. And then we're just holding the can mid-foot. Take another inhale here. And then exhale, start to drop the back of your ribs, moving to the mid-back and the low back. And finally, the bottom comes all the way down. Good. So that should have been a nice added little challenge if you were using the cans. Okay, so from here, we're going to, I'm going to say if you have your cans, let's just move the cans off to the side if they're sliding around. Otherwise, you can keep them there if you want to try this. We're going to do what I call skateboard glide. So your hands are by your sides. And then I want you to exhale, tuck your tail, round your spine, roll up to a nice high bridge. Holding here, lower your bottom down about halfway. And try to keep a neutral spine, meaning think of it like a flat back where you're not tail tucked, we're fairly neutral. And then I want you to imagine you have a skateboard under your bottom, and we're gliding your bottom from left to right on that imaginary skateboard. And you're welcome to let the knees kind of sway as you glide. And the objective is to feel the weight distribution shifting from one hamstring to the other, so one side of your back of your leg to the other. And you're staying soft in your low back and soft in your hips. And if you're familiar with skateboards, we want to think of the skateboard as being on a flat and level surface. So kind of similar to the way a typewriter would glide. It's that same concept of moving in that lateral plane. So just side to side as you glide without any rotation of the pelvis. And just a couple more. And then we'll center it out. Take an inhale. Exhale, try to tuck your tail and round your spine, and then roll your bottom all the way down. Good. Okay, so from here we're going to come up to seated, and feel free to do any version that you like to pop up. And then I'm going to have you sit with your legs in a V. We're going to call this V-sit. And we're going to do a nice little stretch. So with your toes flexed, I'm going to move so you can see my toes flexed up towards the ceiling. I'm going to have you reach with your arms forward, and then we're going to get really tall through the spine. And then exhale, rounding by drawing your belly button to your spine. I want you to round your back forward with your arms forward. Feel that nice stretch. Take an inhale, and then exhale, restack the spine. Inhaling, sitting tall. Exhale, belly button draws in. We create a rounding of the spine, shoulders away from the ears, reaching towards your feet. Feel that nice stretch. Inhale here, and then exhale, restack the spine and sit nice and tall. Good, bring your hands to your legs, and we're just going to keep a flat back here, or neutral spine, and slide your hands towards your feet and feel that nice hamstring stretch as you hinge yourself forward. And then we'll come right on back up. Let's do that one more time. So we're sliding the hands towards the feet, keeping the spine as a flat back, also known as neutral spine. And then bringing it back up to seated tall. Now we're going to add a little rotation through the hips. So feet are towards the ceiling, but I'm going to start to wave my feet. I'm just waving my feet. And so this is a nice little femur roll, a rotation of that thigh bone that I was talking about earlier. And we're just feeling that nice rotation. And then you can add a little more movement to this. So now we can start to let a hip lift and a little bit of a twist. And a little bit of a twist. And as you do this, you'll get more comfortable with the movement, where you can really let the thigh bones rotate, and by allowing the one hip to lift off and getting extra movement through the hips. Now we can add a little upper spine or thoracic rotation. So as you rotate to the side, the feet are pointing off to one side, you can bring your hands to the floor, and you can twist to look behind you and feel that nice stretch through the spine. Then we come back, feet rotate to the other side, hands can come to the ground, twist through the spine for that nice stretch. We'll do one more on each side. Rotating around, feet turn, thighs turn, ribs rotate. And one more. Moving around, hands come to the ground and twist. And then returning. So that was a V-sit, shaped like a V. Now we're going to go into Z-sit, shaped like a Z. So you've got one leg in front, one leg behind, and I like to kind of point the toe a little bit because it puts less pressure on that back knee. And then we're gonna do a little more rotation with our thigh bone. It's called a femur roll. So with your feet off to one side, the hand that's farthest from your feet comes to the ground. The other hand is going to come to the back thigh bone. So we're not holding at the hip, we're holding at the thigh bone. We're gonna try to get a twist of that thigh bone. So just like what we just twisted before. So your bottom cheek will lift as you twist your thigh bone in, rotate through the rib cage and look behind you, and then rotate back and place your bottom cheek back down. So bottom cheek lifts as you rotate and twist, and then rotating back down. And you may or may not be able to get that bottom cheek all the way down. So we're lifting to create the twist, and then maybe you find that sit bone come down, and maybe you don't, and one more, and twist, and then bringing it right on down. So the hand that was on the ground is going to stay where it's at, and you can maybe move it back a little bit, and then the hand that's on your thigh is going to wave to me. Hi. So we're going to do a little dive and reach with that arm. So I want you to think of your bottom, your glutes and your hamstrings, your bottom body lifting you up from underneath. So even though we're pressing our pelvis forward, your glutes are lifting you from underneath. So we'll take an inhale and then exhale, lift yourself up, reach that arm back. You can even look back at the hand, pressing your pubic bone forward, but it's your glutes that are holding you here. And then coming back down to wave. Let's do it again. Press it on up, press your pubic bone forward, bend back, look back at the hand, and then bring it right back down. We're gonna do one more, except we'll add a wave to the ceiling. So waving to me, and then press it right on up, we'll reach that arm overhead, and now we're just gonna wave to the ceiling and feel that extra stretch, and then coming right on back down. Awesome. So now we're gonna go to the other side. So changing the Z-sit position, you can bring your hands back behind you if you need to, or if you wanna try to do no-handed, that's fine. You'll shift your weight back, and we're gonna try to swirl the legs around to go to the other side. Maybe that was successful, maybe it wasn't. Awesome homework, something to work on in your free time. I swear my pants are always falling down in my videos. Okay, so from here, we're gonna do the same femur roll. Opposite hand, so legs going this way, the hand away from the legs comes to the floor. Grab the thigh bone, and now we're twisting the thigh bone, rotating to look behind you, and then twisting that thigh bone to sit your bottom cheek back down. So twisting the thigh bone, rotating, looking behind you, and twisting back, bottom comes down. And last one, rotate the thigh bone, rotate the rib cage, and then bringing it right on back down. Awesome. So same hand, you can move it back a little bit if you'd like, stays on the ground. The one that was on your thigh comes to wave. Hi. Okay, so now we're gonna do those same lifts. So inhale, prepare. Exhale, lift your pelvis, lift your bottom up, thrust your pelvis forward, reach the arm overhead, look back at the hand, and then inhale, coming back down. And let's do two more. Exhale, press it up, arm reaches, press your pubic bone forward, feel that nice hip opener, and inhale back down. And last one, we'll exhale, lift it on up, reach that arm. This time we're waving to the ceiling, and we're feeling that nice stretch here. And then coming right on back down. Awesome. Okay, so from here, I'm gonna have you grab one of your cans if you have it handy still. And I'm gonna move over so I'm in the frame, so you'll be able to see me when I roll. So the can is going to double as a foam roller. I'm just gonna glide under my hand. It's gonna help my hand glide. So I'm seated in my Z-sit, same position that I was in before, and the hand that's farthest from the legs is gonna come to the can. The other hand is going to hover over the legs. You're going to slide out on the can. It will slide onto your forearm, and you'll reach the arm overhead, feel that nice stretch, and then push down into the can arm to slide it back up. So I'm keeping the connection of the muscles along the sides of my ribs and under my armpit connected so that I have control and it doesn't hurt my shoulder. So let's glide it on out. I'm keeping that connection under my armpit of the bottom arm, and then pushing from under the armpit to roll my hand back up that can. And one more, and we'll dive it on out. Feel that stretch and opening, and then pulling it back in. Awesome. Now, if you have the other can handy, we can rotate through the ribs. I'm twisting my ribs so that my chest is over the top of the bent knee here. And then you can slide your arms up the cans for a nice stretch and reach, and then roll the hand hands back up. So you can do karate chop hands if that's easier to slide, or you can do flat palms, but I keep the hands open. Let's do that again. We'll dive it on out. Feel that nice stretch and opening in the low back. And then abdominals pull you back in. And one more. We'll dive it on out. And then tucking your tail using your abs to bring it right on back in. Awesome. Okay, so let's switch around to do the other side. We'll swirl the Z-sit around to the other side. I'll move over so I'm in the frame. And then we'll start with the one arm. So I've got one hand on the can, the other hand that's by the legs is hovering. I'm gonna slide on out, arm reaches overhead for that side stretch. Push into the can to bring it on back. And slide it on out. Connecting from under the bottom armpit to push down into the can to pull it back in. And last one, we'll slide it on out and push into the can to pull it all the way in. All right, so now we're gonna grab the second can, and I'm positioning myself so that the cans they're not completely off to the side. I'm not super twisted, but I allow the rib cage to twist in a comfortable degree or angle. So I've got the hands lined up with my cans lined up with my shoulders, and then you'll press it on out and feel that nice little back opener and stretch. And then use your abdominal muscles to pull yourself back in. And two more. We'll dive it on out, feel that stretch. And lower abs, pull it back in. And last one, and dive it on out. And abs, pull it back in. Awesome. Okay, now from here we're gonna do a little back work, which will also help to open up your chest. We're gonna use the cans again as our faux foam roller. So I'm gonna turn so that you will be able to see me in the frame. And I'm going to be lying on my belly. And you wanna bring the cans with you. And the cans are under your hands. Let me turn so you can see. There we go. Cans are under your hands. So from here, you want your nose to be hovering just off the mat. And then press your pubic bone down into the mat and draw your belly button towards your spine. That's gonna keep it out of your low back. The focus here is upper back. I've got the cans under my hands. And I'm actually gonna move the cans closer to my wrists to give myself some movement space here. So reach the arms super duper long. Feel the shoulder blades glide up your back. And then draw your shoulder blades down your back. And then we're just gonna do a couple of those. Exhale, reach the arms long. Inhale, shoulder blades glide down. So the elbows are staying straight, but my shoulder blades are moving. So it makes my arms go longer, and then it makes my arms go shorter. But it's all because of the movement of the shoulder blades along the backs of my ribs. And the next time that you pull those shoulder blades down, you're gonna hold here. And as you inhale, I want you to push into your can slightly to lift your chest. You'll feel your shoulder blades gliding down your back, but we're staying out of our low back by keeping the abdominals on. And then exhale, dive the arms forward, reach the arms long, drop your nose down. Inhale, draw the shoulder blades down, start to push into the cans, come into a small chest lift, and then exhale, dive it on forward. And one more, inhale, shoulder blades drive down, and lift, and exhale, dive it on out. So this is upper back extension. We're trying to keep the low back out of the equation, but we can add a little bit of low back work by pressing your pubic bone down, turning on your glutes, and floating the tops of your knees off the flat mat a little bit. And then we'll do the same thing. Draw the shoulder blades down, push into the cans, come into a little lift, and then exhale, diving it on out. So you'll feel some back extensors working. Inhale, draw the shoulder blades down, small lift. Exhale, press it on out, and last one. And shoulder blades draw down and lift. And exhale, press it on out. You can lower your legs and let your head rest. So we're gonna come to kneeling to open up and release the low back because we just did some low back work. So kneeling, I have a pillow handy for you to put under your knees. If kneeling hurts your knees, you have a pillow as a knee pad. If you don't need it, that's fine too. Okay, so from here, your hands are going to graze the cans. So I've got my fingertips just grazing the cans, just barely holding on to the cans. And then I'm gonna make a rounded spine. So think of a nice shape of a C, the letter C. So really rounded, belly button's drawing in, abs are really on to hold this shape, otherwise it would go right into my low back. So we're gonna take an inhale, and then exhale. You can start to press your bottom back towards your heels. Spread your bottom cheeks and reach the arms super duper long, and then you can shift yourself forward for a chest opener. Take an inhale here, and then exhale, tuck your tail, round your spine, scoop your abs, squeeze your glutes, lift your bottom up. Use your abs to lift you back up. Good, so your arms should be pretty much dead weight. The cans are just rolling. So we dive it on out. Bottom goes back, cheeks spread, arms reach, bottom goes towards heels. Inhale here, and then exhale, tuck and round. Bottom squeeze, abs lift up, arms stay soft. One more, inhale here, exhale, pressing out, reaching your bottom towards your heels, spreading your cheeks, reaching the arms long, opening the chest. Inhale here, and then exhale, round the spine. Use the abs to roll yourself all the way up. So it's really similar to the roll up we did in the beginning of class. From here, I'm going to have you place your hands off to the side. And I'm going to challenge you to come to standing with no hands. So let's see what kind of creative methods you use to come to standing. And then from here, we're going to do a little hip flexor opener stretch. So I'm going to have you come into, I'm going to turn sideways so you can get a profile here. So I'm going to have you come into a lunge, and it's not a deep lunge. It's just a little lunge, basically one leg in front, one leg in back. I want you to bend your back knee, and the back heel lifts. So now back leg is bent, back heel is lifted, and I'm just kind of a neutral spine, basically, or natural spine. And then I want you to just try to tuck your tail and press your pubic bone forward, and that should give you a really good stretch in that back front of thigh. That's a hip flexor stretch. And then we just come back to neutral, and then you tuck your tail, press your pubic bone forward. If you turn on the butt cheek of the back thigh, you're gonna feel a better stretch. And then we come back to neutral, and one more. Press it on forward. You might even get a little quad stretch if you're tight. If you've been sitting a lot, this will really help. And you don't have to do this with your hands. I'm just trying to show you the movement of my pelvis. And back out. Good. So now we'll go to the other side. So I'm in a basic lunge, not very deep. Bending the back leg, so the back knee is bent and the back heel is lifted. And then from here, I'm in a fairly neutral pelvis. I want you to tuck your tail, round your spine, press the pubic bone forward, turn on the butt cheek of the back leg, and you should feel a nice opener in that front thigh. And then we come back out, returning to neutral. Let's do that a couple more times. Tuck the tail, turn on the glute, press your pubic bone forward, and then coming back out, and one more, and tuck and press. This is so good if you're sitting. These hip flexors get shortened and tight, and coming on out of it. Okay, so that concludes our workout. I wouldn't even call it a workout, it was a stretchy sesh. But I feel like it's really important to get as much movement in your body as possible. I made this for Pilates Day, but I feel like it should be used all the time. And since a lot of us are sitting and doing things that, working from home and doing things that our bodies aren't necessarily used to, you're gonna feel tight in your hips and your low back and your ribs and your shoulders. And so we just want to get a lot of opening. So just remember that, the chest opening stuff can be done from a desk. The arm reachy stuff can be done from a desk. A lot of these things can be done. The standing hip flexor stretch, these can be done during your Zoom meetings. You just pop up your camera or maybe leave your camera on, doesn't matter, and get in your stretches. Make your body feel better. Take care of your bodies. I love you guys. Thank you for joining me.